welcome to our RDM Coffee Lecture series on infrastructures and tools. A warm welcome to Thierry Sengstag. He is the head of the Scientific Computing Center sciCORE at the University of Basel. Today he gives an overview on sciCORE and its services. So I hand over to you, Thierry.
Thanks for the introduction. As you just stated, sciCORE is a scientific computing center of the University of Basel, and our main role is to bring scientific IT expertise for the researchers at the university. So we see scientific IT as having three pillars. First one, it is in the domain of IT infrastructures, in particular high-performance computing infrastructures. We also see software and data services as an important part, and we also see that we need to bring scientific expertise to the researchers who use our platform when they need it. So we have strong collaboration with external partners in which we offer extended scientific support. I will comment that a bit later. So if we see things from a high-level perspective, we have our service catalog is as follows. So we have HPC, we have scientific data storage service, we provide scientific support and training, we have the tools to conduct research, and we have a special platform called sciCORE for work with sensitive scientific data. If we look at our community, we have about 1,000 active Linux users in our environment, about 800 researchers and 200 students, and we cover about a bit more than 240 research groups at the university. The pie chart shows the distribution across the units at the university, and we see that Biozentrum, DBM, SwissDPH represent a big half of our users, and in total, about 70% of our users are in life sciences. Which makes us not really a real high-performance computing center, but more a center to support data-centric research with some HPC capacity for people like physicists and mathematicians who need big compute. We have about more than 2,500 support tickets per year. In terms of funding, about half of our funding comes from the institution with direct budget for the service, and also we have a user fee principle. So our big users are returning back some of the money into the infrastructure. So this represents about 50% of our funding, but 50% comes from additional collaboration grants and contracts that we have. And if we look at the pie charts, the red part at the bottom left is the two slices in red are the collaborations with the Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics. So we have a very strong embedding with the activities of this national institute. So sciCORE is one of the ZIP of the University of Basel. So we are one of the gray pillars in the left. We collaborate. This means we collaborate with other ZIPs, like in particular with ITS in terms of infrastructure. We try to not duplicate things which already exist, and we focus really on the added value for scientific IT. And we also participate in the Resonator, which is a network of coordination between the different services which provide research support. And this network is coordinated by our colleagues at the Center for Data Analytics. As in addition to the global governance of the university, we have our own internal governance. And one point I want to stress in this aspect is that we really make sure that we have a good connection with our users. So we have a user board, which is mandated to report back to the needs of the departments in terms of scientific IT. So we have really regular meetings with this board to make sure that we offer the right infrastructure for our users. In terms of a team, so this is the team. So we have about 20 collaborators. So we have 3 persons in the management, one more for scientific management, This is myself. My colleague Lorenza is looking into project management and HR and finances, and Martin Jacot is responsible for more the technology aspect, and we are supported in the office by Albana. And I tried to put a spectrum of skills among our collaborators, from the pure IT systems to the data analysis. So there's often an overlap between the skills of people, and they can play different roles in their region in the spectrum. So our steering board is currently Thorsten Schweder, Michael Brüver, and Tim Meyer, and we will soon onboard Ivan Dokmanic, who is the head of Center for Data Analytics. So in terms of systems, sciCORE operates three main infrastructures. So in yellow in the picture here, we have the main sciCORE cluster, which has the main storage systems, and which is the workhorse for people doing computational sciences in our environment. We also have a small DMZ, which you can see on the lower left. This is the DMZ, means for all the services that we are exposing to the internet. We're hosting a series of services from the Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics, for instance, who have a worldwide accessibility. So these services are typically developed by researchers at university, in particular at Biotzentrum. And this is a separate infrastructure, which is isolated from the university network for security reasons. And we have a second isolated infrastructure called sciCORE Med, and I will say a few words about this later. This sciCORE Med has higher security environment, and it's really suitable for biomedical research. So our systems in a few numbers. So we have our main cluster consists of 7,000 cores who are shared with the whole research community. We have a small part of the cluster, 4,000 cores, which is dedicated by some projects who have really specific requirements in terms of computing or how the systems are configured. And we also have, about a bit less than 1,000 cores in the sciCORE Med environment. We have a few specialized nodes with big memory for some specific applications, and we have a GPU nodes. We also have, in terms of storage, we have 9 petabytes in the central storage, 4 petabytes in the Puma. Puma is the workstation accessible storage at university, and 1 petabyte in sciCORE Med, so in total about 14, 15 petabytes. We try to keep our hardware up to date, so which means that we renew our computing nodes about every 4 years, and storage and network about every 5 years. And GPU we adapt based on the demand. In terms of storage, just a quick look. So you can see here the growth of storage requirements over the last years. So I think it's about 7 years. So you see that data are growing, not with a strong exponential rate at this point, but you see that the slope generally gradually increases with time. So which means that data are really increasing in the domain of research. And in total, we have 300 file sets, so research groups and projects hosted in the central HPC storage, and about a bit more than 100 shares in the Puma storage, which also hosts some services like from the University Bibliothek and other services at university. We have a big software stack that we can offer in the main cluster with about 400 software applications, quite a lot of them in the domain of life sciences because of our user community. And we try to reuse software stacks which exist internationally. Like we are now several parts of the infrastructure which are using the sciCORE Med environment. In terms of data management systems, we have one main service which is called LabKey, which is a generic framework to manage data. But we also have a few additional services which are available on request. So RedCap is, for instance, is a clinical data capture system that we operate for projects at university who need to conduct surveys with patients or study participants. We collaborate on this also with the University of Basel to make sure that we don't duplicate effort, or that things which should stay in the hospital stay in the hospital. And we also, OnDemand, can deploy any kind of database technologies that the project needs. We try to see our environment as an ecosystem where, again, we have the hardware infrastructure linked to the integrated with the data management and with the software that we offer. And one example where we have closed the loop over the years is the genomics research, where as a researcher who would make a study with mice at, for instance, at Centrum again, would take some samples, would have the samples sequenced at the genomic facility of Basel, and then we have an agreement with the sequencing center to transfer automatically the data and the metadata on our systems, such that people can conduct their data analysis without having anything else to do than just access their data after they have given the vial containing the samples to the sequencing center. In terms of data analysis, so we had a few months ago, we had started a strategic project called the Jupyter Hub, which is data analysis framework where you can develop code interactively and explore data interactively on the web browser. So we have deployed the system now in the main cluster, but also for a pilot phase in a separate infrastructure where courses at university are taking place. So in that we collaborate with the Bildungstechnologie. And to support this effort, we received some additional a proposal to consolidate this service at university was accepted, and we will have a new collaborator starting in 2023 to consolidate this and other environments, like something which we have developed over spring and summer is the open on-demand environment, which allows you to run RStudio and Jupyter Lab on the cluster, but through a web browser. So which means that if you connect to this URL, od.scicore.univers.ch, you can actually start your own private instance of RStudio or a Jupyter Lab, and then analyze data on the cluster like if it was on your laptop. So you can bring in your data and take the results out with a file manager, which is integrated. And if you have an account on the cluster, I really encourage you to test this system. This is very, very nice to work interactively on the system, on the cluster. Now, another very important aspect in which we are involved and which takes much of my time recently is the Biomed IT project. And the Biomed IT project is a sister project of a national initiative called Swiss Personalized Health Network, which started in 2017, which will last until end 2024. And the idea is to create a data and infrastructure environment for biomedical research in Switzerland, so that some traditional blocking factors between data collection at the hospital with patients are released, such that patient data which are collected in the hospital can be really streamlined into the research, so that we can accelerate biomedical research. So, in very brief, this is our infrastructure is called sciCORE, and this is part of a national infrastructure with three data centers who are involved. So we are the node in Basel. We have colleagues at ETH in Zurich, and we have another node in Lausanne, hosted at University of Lausanne. And there is a national coordination center who make sure that all these infrastructure and concept and developments are developed in kind of integrated way. So project that we are hosting in our infrastructure is the Swiss transplant cohort study, and we have a few national cohorts which we are hosting. We're also testing federation of computing on medical data internationally with one project called Argos and a second one which came recently called Clinova. And we also provide some HPC support to the research and development IT unit of the hospital. In very brief, so I alluded to that before. So the sciCORE is really a higher security environment to work with sensitive data. So we have a national information security policy, which has been established, where we make sure that we can safely host data on the computing environment in a way that really we follow all legal requirements around the data. So in particular, we looked very intensely into the new data protection laws and the GDPR. So our environment should be suitable for most research with sensitive data at university. It's actually not limited to biomedical data, but so if you have sensitive socioeconomic data, you can also contact us. We can host this kind of project. We are also in the process now to transfer research groups which have been traditionally working on the main cluster. Like we have some collaborations with the many projects from the Department of Biomedicine. So we are trying to onboard them in the sciCORE environment. So this means that researchers need to adapt a little bit the way they work, but we were confident that we will be able to bring all research with sensitive data in a really very safe environment. Okay, I'm reaching soon the end, but one point which is very important for us is the user training. We want to make sure that we transfer our know-how to our user community, and we have three main axes of training. First is the use of the computing infrastructure. But we also have, with these collaborations with the Center of Data Analytics and the SIB, we have courses in statistics and bioinformatics, plus a few other courses on specialized topics, like we have a course on LabKey, for instance. Okay, so how to access sciCORE? So you can go to our support page, and then if you have a question, you can click on one of these buttons, and then this will file a ticket in our ticketing system, and we will answer you. Basically, our services are subject to a fee for service, but small usage is free. So basically, we do not invoice projects which generate less than 1,000 francs of usage per year. And with this amount, you can, because we are subsidized by the university, you can already buy quite a chunk of resources. And we send regularly, like monthly reports and quarterly invoices when applicable to the PIs who of the collaborators who use the infrastructure. Okay, so that would be it. Do you have any questions?
So if there are any questions, you can put them in the chat. This might take a little bit of time. That's why I have a question to you, Thierry. I think it's a very short question. So if I have a research project and I need infrastructure and I don't know if I have to go to you, to sciCORE, or to the IT services, how does it work? How can I find out to which institution I should go?
So basically, we are really, as mentioned at the beginnings, we are really Linux centered. So it really depends on the kind of application that you want to have. So we do not support Windows, clearly. So if you have a Windows application, then you would have to go to our colleagues at ITS. As soon as you need some form of high performance computing, large memory or large data volumes, then you can come to us. So we have an agreement with even with ITS, where any project which has more than 5 terabytes of data is automatically sent to us. Mm-hmm. So you can really contact us in the first place, and if you are in one of these cases where we cannot really support you, then we will refer you back to our colleagues at ITS. But so basically, I said we are really based on Linux, but with these tools like RStudio and the Jupyter Lab available through OnDemand, actually now you can really analyze your data on the web browser, which means that I think the future of scientific computing is in this kind of web-based tools, and the operating system will disappear as a concern, but well, maybe 5-10 years from now.
Thank you. And I will check if there are any questions. I don't see any questions in the chat, and I think there was enough time to write something. Anyway, we will wait for some seconds, and if there's not popping up something, we will finish this session.
So the entry point is really this URL. So do not hesitate to contact us.
Yeah. Okay, there's nothing coming in the chat. So thank you very much, Thierry.
My pleasure.
And have a nice day.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.